Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Java Basics. Today we're going to be talking about how to prompt the user for input. Now there are two ways to do that. One way uses this output window or the console window, and the other way uses an object called JOptionPane where you pop open a little dialog box and you ask the user to enter something there. If you want to learn Java programming or just programming in general, subscribe to this channel. We put out a lot of videos that range from beginner topics to more advanced programming concepts. Also, please like this video, share it with a friend, and write a comment as well. It goes a long way to help promote a channel like this. Now, let's get back to the video. Let's start by looking at how to prompt the user for input within this output window. So we have to create an object, a variable, and the type of that variable is going to be scanner. Now you notice there's a capital S at the beginning of that word. That means this is a class. We're going to declare a variable called, say, in, and that's going to be equal to a new scanner object, and we will pass in something called system.in. Now you notice this is underlined in red. That's because we need an import statement, which we can add automatically. Now that we have this line of code, this creates the variable of type scanner. This variable is now able to scan this window down here for user input. But it's not doing it yet. So first, we're going to print a message. Please enter your name. And now we're actually going to wait for the user to enter something here. And the way we do that is we use our scanner variable in dot next line. And when we call this method will wait for the user to enter something into this window and press the enter or return key. And when they do, this method will return whatever they typed in here. So that means we're going to have a variable, and we're going to put this value into this variable. So once again, we create a variable, type scanner, so we can scan this window for input. We prompt them with a print statement, and then we sit here and wait for the user to enter something into this window, hit enter, and once they do, whatever they entered will be put into this variable called name. And then let's print a little greeting. And now let's run. You can see here's our prompt. Now, the cursor has to be placed in here before you enter your name. So I have to click it here. And now I'm going to type my name, Jonathan. I'm going to hit enter. And when I do, Java then continues with the program, goes down to this line, and prints the greeting with the name I've entered. Now let's look at the second way to prompt the user for input. We're going to use something called JOptionPane. So we will declare, again, another variable. This time, let's ask the person for their age. So let's declare a variable called input, and that will be equal to, and again, we're going to use JOptionPane, notice the capital letters, dot, and then there's a method called showInputDialog. And this method needs the prompt. So please enter your age. Now you notice again underlined in red, that's because we need an import. And there is the import. We don't need the scanner import anymore since we're no longer using that. We can get rid of that. And now you can see what's happening is this variable input is going to be set equal to whatever the user enters in this pop-up window. This will pop up a window in the middle of the screen, print this text, and then have a little input box where you can type in whatever you're asking them for. In this case, it would be your age. And now let's print. You are input years old. So some of you are probably wondering why I used the variable name input instead of something more age appropriate, like the variable name age. Well, you'll see in a little while why I did that. I did that on purpose. So anyway, let's run this program. And let's see what happens. So we get this pop-up window. You can see here it says, please enter your age. That's what we typed here. And the cursor's already in there. and I'm going to type in 27. And I'm going to hit OK or Enter. And we get that 27 as a string into this variable called input, and then we print it. So now what happens if we want to print something like this? Next year, you will be input plus 1 years old. Okay, now this probably will not work because input is a string, but let's just double check. Enter my age. Let's go with 27 again. And you can see next year I will be 271 years old because what it's doing is it's not adding, it's concatenating. Oh, okay, so in that case, maybe we need parentheses as we saw in a prior video. So it does the adding first. Let's try it this time. 27. No, it still didn't work. And the reason why it didn't work is because input is a string. Because input's a string, if we try and add 1 to it, Java sees this and says, well, that's not addition, that's concatenation, because this is a string. So I'm going to just put the number 1 as a string at the end of whatever this is, and I get 27 and then a 1. That's a problem. We need the actual age. So this is the string based on what they've entered. We need to somehow convert this into an integer. And there's a way to do that. Integer age, as I said, this variable is more age appropriate. And that's going to be equal to, and in order to convert input, which is a string, into an actual integer, we're going to use capital I, integer, which is a class, dot, and there's a method called parseInt. And you're going to pass in the string that contains an integer. And when you do that, it will take this string, look at the value, try and convert it into an integer, and put that new value into the variable called age. So then we can use this variable. Let's see it running in action. Please enter your age, 27. Okay, and now it prints properly. I will be 28 years old. Now you're probably wondering, what happens if I don't enter a number? That's always possible. Instead of entering 27, let's say I enter W, which is obviously not an integer. I hit OK, and as you can see, we get an error. What error? We get a number format exception for the input string W, meaning we're trying to make this into a number and it's not. And where is the error? It says here, learning strings, right here, line 9. Right there. Handling this error and catching it and checking for it is not the topic of this video. That's the topic of a more advanced video, which I will be putting out soon. I hope you learned something from watching this video. Please remember to subscribe and share this video with others who are learning Java programming. Thanks for watching, and take care, everyone.